Okay, we're going to start V'yata Tetzaveh. Okay, so it's not the look at the Torah. Okay, this is the last Maamar the Rebbe edited before the stroke that he had in Tavshin Nun Beis. So it says like this: V'yata Tetzaveh b'nei Yisrael, you should command the Yidden v'yikchu elecha shemen zayizach. They should bring to you pure olive oil crushed. Katzis lamar crushed for light, lahalis ner tamid, to bring up a continuous flame, a continuous light. So the pasuk says, Hashem said, Moshe Rabbeinu should command the Yidden, they should bring shemen zayizach, olive oil to you, and it should be pressed, and for light, and to bring up a constant light. You can be said, it's known the questions in Chassidus, Nemar Tzavis b'nei Yisrael ki yetzi b'zeh, by all mitzvahs in the Torah. It says Tzavis b'nei Yisrael, command the Yidden, v'kan Nemar v'ata Tzavis b'nei Yisrael. And here it says you should command the Yidden. Like well, normally it says V'yidaber Hashem al Moshe Leimer Tzavis b'nei Yisrael, command the Yidden. Here it says you command the Yidden. L'heisef, and to add to this, that dik masher kosev v'yata Tetzaveh. The question about V'yata Tetzaveh is leirak b'aloshin, not only in the terminology, and also in the meaning of it. Because simply the question is, normally it says Tzavis b'nei Yisrael, it's a change of language. But it's not only a change of language, it's a change of concept, of depth. Why? The At of Tetzaveh mashma shemeshu metzaveh. V'yata Tetzaveh means you command. When it says V'yidaber Hashem al Moshe Leimer, Hashem spoke to Moshe, you command the Tzavis b'nei Yisrael, it means Hashem is telling Moshe, I'm commanding, you just tell them when I'm commanding. V'yata Tetzaveh means you, Moshe Rabbeinu, is the one that's commanding. Tzarech lahavin, arei Moshe shliach l'Yisrael tzivah HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moshe Rabbeinu is only the shliach to bring to the Yid what Hashem commanded. So if so, why does it say V'yata Tetzaveh? You command. And we also have to understand when it says V'yikchu elecha, they should bring to you. Shaviu Hashem and Moshe, they should bring the oil to Moshe. Elecha l'cheira kivin shalos haneda they added. Who kindled the meneda? Aaron and Cain. So why did they have to bring the oil to Moshe? They should bring the oil to Aaron. I mean, that makes sense. They bring the Moshe to deliver it to Aaron, bring it straight to Aaron. It says Shem and the Moshe. Why did they have to bring the oil to Moshe? And another thing we have to understand, what says Shemin kosis lamor. Pressed, lamor means to the source of light. It should have said Shemin to light. Lamor means the source of light. It's not the oil, they brought the oil to be lit, not to be the source of light. And also we need to understand the last question. The after pasuk next says me'erev ad beiker, from evening to morning, and here it says tamid constant. So yeah, the simple answer is if it's every night from night to morning, it's called tamid, meaning every night. But still, tamid means 24/7, and evening to morning means, okay, so number one, there's a whole bunch of questions over here. Number one, why does it say V'yata Tetzaveh, which implies Moshe Rabbeinu is the one commanding it to the Yidden, not normally Tzavis b'nei Yisrael? Also, why does it have to bring the oil to Aaron, to Moshe? Let him just bring it to Aaron and Cain. And also, we need to understand, why does it say Ma'ar? It should say Laha'ir. And last question is, how can it say one pasuk tamid and one pasuk me'erev habayker? So he says, Mavarich hakmeicha Maamar. And the Friedrich Rebbe, this Maamar is based on the Friedrich Rebbe's Maamar of 1927, Purim Katan. That year was also, this year, Tavshin Mamalef, when the Rebbe said the Maamar, it was also a leap year. And this Maamar was said, Yud Adarishan Tavshin Mamalef. That's when the Rebbe said the Maamar. So it says it's based on the Maamar of the previous Rebbe. But Maamar are doing as well? No Maamar v'kibla m'shenamer Purim Katan Tavrish Peizayin. The story with that Maamar, by the way, of the previous Rebbe, 1927. That Tetzaveh Sivan, the previous Rebbe was arrested. The Purim cotton before that, the Frierdiker Rebbe had a Fabring in his house. The communists were already on his tail already. Frierdiker Rebbe had a big Fabring in his house. A lot of Chassidim were there, and the communists were there. The Russians were there, and the Frierdiker Rebbe spoke. He said, "I know you're here. I don't care about you. I'm going to do what I want anyway." And he said this Maamar, that this Maamar is based on.
Was it illegal to say these things?
Huh?
Was it illegal? Or
well, that caused him, one of the things, to be arrested.
Okay, but it wasn't illegal.
The Frierdiker Rebbe said, according to the Constitution of Russia, you can learn to do religion. So he's screaming at them, it's not illegal. What was illegal was teaching others, but that he did anyway. But, okay. So he says like this. He explains in the Maamar, what does it mean, Va'ata Tetzaveh, Tetzaveh, V'chibur. Meaning, it doesn't only mean commandment, it means binding and connection. Like we know the Zohar says. And this is what the pasuk says. Va'ata Tetzaveh is B'nai Yisrael, that you bind the Yidden with Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu binds and connects Yidden with Hashem. And through this, that Moshe is mashpia, binds the Yidden to Hashem, that he binds him with Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu becomes greater. In other words, the Frierdiker Rebbe explains on that Maamar, through Va'ata Tetzaveh B'nai Yisrael, by you binding the Yidden to Hashem, V'yikchu Eilecha, they will take to you, Moshe Rabbeinu becomes greater. By Moshe Rabbeinu binding the Yidden to Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu becomes greater. Why? So he explains in the brackets, the Moshe, the Yisrael, Heim Dogmas Reish V'regel. Moshe and the Yidden are similar to the head and the feet. Like it says, Sheish Me'ers Elef Ragli, Ha'am Asher Nechi B'kirbei. You read in the Pasuk Baloischa, the Moshe Rabbeinu says, the 600,000 feet that I stand within you, Asher Nechi B'kirbei, he says, the Chol Yisrael, Hem Raglayim de Moshe. All the Yidden are the feet of Moshe Rabbeinu. The Moshe El Shalahem, and Moshe is the head. So what's the Moshe Rabbeinu is the head, the rest of the Yidden are the feet. Okay, Moshe B'adam, just like by a person. Raglayim Elichem Esarosh, the feet bring the head. L'mokum Sharosh Mitzad Atzma Eini Yochel Lagia Sham, to a place that the head himself cannot get to. Meaning, if the head wants to get somewhere, it needs the foot to get it there. Which means the foot has an aspect that the head doesn't have. You want to get somewhere, you want to get to a better place, so to speak, then you need to have the feet of Moshe Rabbeinu. Same thing as by Moshe and the Yid. Shaidei Yisrael Raglayim the Moshe. Through the feet of Moshe Rabbeinu, Miteitzet Ilui b'Moshe, Moshe Rabbeinu becomes greater. So the Rebbe is explaining, through Va'ata Tetzaveh, through this that you connect the Yidden with Hashem, V'yikchu Eilecha, you become Moshe, you become greater. V'zer shekosav sheish me'ers elef ragli, asher anechi b'kirbei. That's the expression of the pasuk, the 600,000 feet. The nation that I, anechi, stand within them, shaydei ragli ha'adam. Through the feet of the people, nimshach anechi b'kirbei shemesha. Moshe Rabbeinu gets the level of anechi. In other words, through the sheish me'es elef ragli, through the 600 level of feet, 600,000 feet, the anechi comes into Moshe Rabbeinu. B'kirbei comes into Moshe Rabbeinu.
What I'm saying is that's why it's not a personal agenda that Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to connect to you because he wants to get higher.
No, but that's what happens through this.
You're saying it more for Chassidim. If you want to get your Rebbe to go higher, connect to Hashem.
Yeah, but that's not why the Moshe Rabbeinu is doing it. He's doing it because that's his job.
The simple Jew brings another Jew closer to Hashem The Moshe Rabbeinu within him is going to get stronger?
Yeah. וזהו והתוצאבס בני ישראל ויחילך שמן זייס. הידי שמשה יצווה ויקשש בני ישראל למען ארין סוף. To this that Moshe Rabbeinu binds and connects Eden with Hashem through this. Yavil b'nei Yisrael shemen zayis l'Moshe v'yikhu elecha sheyisifu teisus b'Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu becomes greater. And like it says in right after the Egel, when Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu was still in Har Sinai. Hashem said to him, Lech reid, go down. So Rashi quotes in the Medrash, what's the expression, go down? It's redundant. He says, Lech, go down, reid migdulasa, you're going down, not only physically go down off the mountain, you are becoming lower in level. Klum nasati lecha gdula ala b'shel Yisrael. I only gave you greatness because of the Yidden. The Yidden are down, so do you go down. That means the Jews affect Moshe Rabbeinu. When we do through this, that Moshe Rabbeinu connects us to Hashem, and we become connected, we make Moshe Rabbeinu greater. And when we don't, we drag him down in evil with us.
Is the Rebbe giving us a hint with this?
The whole Maamar is the Rebbe's last will and testament. Just like the Rebbe said about Basi Lagani, the previous Rebbe, that he wrote it for his passing as the last will for the Chassidim. Say obviously Tetzaveh, the same thing. If when you learn the Maamar, you see it clearly. It's not. Well, the Vay is that to explain this. Maktam Maamar, the Frierdiker Rebbe explains in the Maamar. Shemeish Rabbeinu Nikra Raya Mehemna. In Zohar and Medrash, Moshe Rabbeinu is called Raya Mehemna, literally faithful shepherd. He says the Shnei Perushim Bazad. The Frierdiker Rebbe brings down. There's two meanings of this expression. One is Shurei Nemen Shal Yisrael. One is the simple meaning. He is the faithful shepherd. And secondly, Shuzon Mefanis Es Yisrael Binyan Amuna. Or the second interpretation is he is the shepherd of belief. One is he is the faithful shepherd. And the second meaning is he is the shepherd of faith. The Amunah, what does it mean? What do you mean he's the shepherd of belief? The Amunah Sheri Hashem Yisrael Mitzad Atzma. This Amunah that the Eden have on themselves. Yisrael Hey Maamirim B'nei Maamirim. The Eden are the children of believers. After Shetei B'chinas Makim. It could possibly be in a very superficial level. And this that Moshe Rabbeinu fits the Eden Amuna is Shamuna Tia B'pnimius, that it should become internalized. The shepherd feeds the sheep with grass. Moshe Rabbeinu feeds the Bnei Yisrael with Emunah. So he's not only the faithful shepherd, he's the shepherd of faith, meaning every Jew has Emunah. But sometimes it's external, it's superficial, it doesn't affect them directly, only indirectly. So Moshe Rabbeinu feeds them the Emunah that affects them directly. And this is what it says in the Zohar. Hayamunah de la'ela. This Emunah from above, Yitazim v'yisparnas b'nei yisminei. Al yodach hayidei Moshe. The Yidden will be supported and fed through you. Like the Zohar says, Moshe Rabbeinu is feeding the Yidden Emunah. What does it mean? Moshe Rabbeinu supports and feeds Emunah. He brings down the Emunah internally, that they actually feel it directly. And he explains in the Maamar. This that it says Moshe Rabbeinu is the Raya Mehemna, the Frierdiker Rebbe explained, it doesn't only mean Moshe Rabbeinu, the original, it means the Ganlis Pashtusa, the Moshe Shebechol Dor, the Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation. The Rosh Alpha Yisrael Shebechol Dor, the leaders of the Jews in every generation, Mechazke Mesamuna, the Yisrael Shebedeiram. They strengthened the Emunah of their generation, that their Emunah should be bepnimius. Because again, this Maamar was said by the Friedrich Rebbe Purim Katan, so it's the Purim season. So the Friedrich Rebbe writes in the Maamar, Ukmei Mordechai, just like Mordechai. Shayis Pashtu said the Meisha Shabbadirei. Mordechai was the Meisha Rabbeinu of his generation. K'maymer, as like the Medrash says, Mordechai B'direi, K'meisha B'direi, the Meisha Rabbeinu, Mordechai in his generation was like Meisha Rabbeinu in his generation. It means Shegam Bizman Gzeirus Haman, even in the time of the decree of Haman. What did he do? Shalima that Torah v'kiyam mitzvahs. There were the learning of Torah mitzvahs. Haya kasher Mesiras Nefesh was connected to Mesiras Nefesh. Why? Because Haman made there were decrees against the Eden. So nevertheless, what did Mordechai do? Hekilu kilas berabim. He gathered communities. L'chazik esamunim shal Yisrael b'avayit, to strengthen the amun of the Yidden with Hashem. V'lamed chazik b'liben ha'Torah v'kiyam ha'mitzvahs, to stand strong with learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. So therefore, the Friedrich Rebbe says that it's not only Moshe Rabbeinu that's feeding Emunah, the Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation. Like we find by Mordechai, the Medrash says Mordechai was like Moshe, and therefore just like Moshe taught Torah, but by Mordechai it was more so, he did it with Mesiras Nefesh.
Is that only
One Moshe Rabbeinu did. Rashi calls him Chumash. Daber echad ladar v'lo shnei dabarim. In Moshe Rabbeinu's time, let's look at the original scenario. Moshe Rabbeinu's time, there was a great guy called Aaron. There were great Nesiim. There was Nachshon and Aminadav and Kaleb ben Yefunah and Yeshua. There were a lot of great guys around. But Moshe Rabbeinu is only one. There's only one Moshe Rabbeinu. By the way, that doesn't knock Aaron and Kohen. It doesn't mean Aaron and Kohen wasn't great and the other Nesiim weren't great. But there's one Moshe Rabbeinu per generation.
Excuse me, Rabbi. Did you answer why the oil was given to Moshe Rabbeinu?
No.
Did I miss it?
No, you got the whole Maamar, man. Come on, you learned Chassidus. You know that the questions are never answered at the beginning.
I don't want to miss it yet.
The more he knows, the less he knows.
Okay. Shh. And after he explains in the Maamar, the Yisrael, after he explains that Moshe Rabbeinu is the shepherd, meaning he feeds the Yidden with Amunah, and he says like this. Now, shh. Now that we understand that Moshe Rabbeinu feeds Amunah, then the Friedrich Rebbe explains. Now we can understand why the pasuk says not shemen laha'ir, shemen to give light, but shemen lamor, to be the source of light. Shh. Shebizman hagolus, in the time of golus. Shekol echad ve'echad unishper v'nitka. In the time of Golus, when but this is what the Friedrich Rebbe explains. In the time of Golus, when everybody is broken and depressed, Kosis, Aideis Amagin Lemor, Ha'etzem Shemimenu Nimtza Ha'or. Then the Friedrich Rebbe explains like this. Now that we know that Moshe Rabbeinu feeds the Yidden Amunah, then he explains the concept of Kosis Lamor. Mor means the source of light. He says, through the level of Kosis, through this that the Jews are oppressed and broken, that reveals the level of Ma'ar within the Jew. Meaning, it reveals the essence of the Jew. And the Rebbe is going to explain the connection. The Rebbe is going to ask, what's the connection that Moshe Rabbeinu feeds Jews Amunah? What's the connection between that and Kosis Lamar, that by being oppressed, you come to the essence? What's the connection? V'tzarech lahavin. Hashayich is the apirish Kosis Lamar. La'mavur b'amarim l'fneza. Shemesh v'izpashtus delay b'chol dora. Zanim afanis amunah shedei pnimius. What's the connection? What's the connection that the Friedrich Rebbe is explaining? That by Moshe Rabbeinu feeding the Jews, now we understand that by being oppressed, you come to Ma'ar. What's the connection? So he says in Dalet, V'hinei, Abir ba'pasuk v'ata Tetzaveh, ba'hamayim b'am shchlam avor b'tchilas hamayim. It connects to the Friedrich Rebbe's Maamar. It doesn't begin Vata Tetzaveh. He begins the Maamar V'kibel HaYehudim. The Jews accepted what they began in Matan Torah, and he explains this whole thing, and then he goes into Vata Tetzaveh. So he says at the beginning of the Maamar, the Pirish V'kibel HaYehudim Asher Chelu Lasis. The Jews accepted upon themselves what they began, meaning, as the Gemara says, Shekiblu Ma Shechelu Bizman de Matan Torah. They accepted what they began at the beginning of Matan Torah, meaning the B'Matan Torah Heisas Chol Heichelu Lasis. By Matan Torah, the pasuk is meaning they began accepting it, but B'Mei Achashverosh, in the days of Achashverosh, Haisa Kabbalah, they accepted it V'kibel HaYehudim, meaning until Purim, the Jews had Torah, but it was only the beginning. When did they actually accept Torah? That was in Purim. Al derech Maamar Zalik, the Gemara says, on the pasuk Kimu v'kibla Yehudim, that Kimu mashi kiblu kvad. So he says, Zeh shekdimu nasa, nasa l'nishma b'matan Torah. This that the Jews said nasa v'nishma by matan Torah, that was only the acceptance. But b'mei Achashverosh kimu mashi kiblu. It says kimu v'kibla Yehudim, and the Gemara says kimu mashi kiblu kvar, meaning at Matan Torah, when the Jews said Nasiv and Ishma, they only accepted it. When did they begin doing it? In the day of Purim. What?
Sponsor the class.
Okay, the class is sponsored by Avram Aradian.
And it's sponsored by...
Honor of the Rebbe.
In honor of the Rebbe. Goodbye, goodbye.
Wait.
Okay.
Rabbi,
No, bro.